السلام عليكم. Too loud?
You want a mic?
لا 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 بمشي. I get nervous. I think 50% of you already took the photos with the bird. So today's session is a bit different, yeah? It's who I am and what created me from when I was a child. And that actually opened my mind into sustainability, wildlife. I do a lot of stuff with wildlife, conservations. So it became a passion and at the same time a specialized thing what I do for myself. Let's talk about falconry. I was a kid. My dad used to tell me, you were crawling when you go to the falcons and you sit between the falcons. That I don't remember. But after 4 years, I started picking up falcons. And before we start, happy National Day. وكل عام وانتم بخير. والله يديم المحبة ويديم الأمن والأمان والله يوفقنا. So let's talk about the past. This is life in the past. And this is 55 years ago. So not so long ago. And do you actually know the guy on the camel? صحيح. It's Sheikh Zayed. So what was the falcon's relationship with أجدادنا, our grandfathers, our ancestors? What was it, that connectivity? It was a mean of bonding, and at the same time, it's in a partnership. The falcon actually hunts and feeds the tribe because there were no guns, no weapons, no bows and arrows. So they actually released the birds to catch a prey. And that prey is shared between the falcon and the family. So the more he catches, the more he feeds families. For that's the pillar of the falcon. Just remember that. That's the main pillar that 55 years later, which is today, is the same pillar of the pride of that falcon. So just remember that, yeah? That's the roots of where we came from. Pride, honor, patience, hospitality, we share. These are the same pillars that are rooted in the country today. And we catch what we eat. So it's, you don't catch more than what you don't need. So you focus on wildlife, life itself, and how precious life is. And this is what ESG today is talking about. Because families were moving from one well to another because of the nomadic behavior in the UAE, the falcon moves with the water. So people stay at Al-Faqah, people stay in Jumeirah in summer for pearl diving. So they become, at every season, a different talent. The mean was to survive. But alhamdulillah, after oil, things has changed, prosperation happened, but those pillars are still the same pillars. The way we think as a person, as a company, and as a country. They all have the same principles of life within this country. Do you agree with me or not? Thank you. So being humble, connecting with a falcon is the most, they're the smartest birds in the world. But bonding with them is so difficult. As soon as you bond, those birds actually know you very well. When I actually started hunting with birds and started working with birds and started looking at birds, I realized that there's a gap between the wildlife of falcons and other animals and birds due to climate change. And I'll give you numbers. 70% of offsprings of any bird in the world actually do not make it the first year. They don't. That's how many die. Natural causes will be 15 to 20%. 60% would be because of pollution, electricity, electrical cables, dirt on the floor, you name it, plastic, whatever you think of, which is bad and you know it's bad, actually hurts the entire animal population. If that happens, the life cycle changes. Plantation, deplantation happens, deserts increase, water solution reduces because of population. So it's an entire cycle. So I focused on two things. I focused on falconry, preservation of falcons. I have so many studies, from weather, temperature, the light and day, and humidity. So I've done a lot of that research. And then the other one is the hubara, which is nearly extinction a few years ago. Now, alhamdulillah, is one of the highest production in the world. We're doing, the UAE government itself is doing 65,000 hubars a year. And they reached, I think they reached in the desert approximately 3,000 a year. So they're back up at 65,000, and they release at least half of them back into the wild. And say half of those, let's say, die again, you still have a good 15,000 in the wild. So that population is coming back. If you look at those birds, especially those birds, and look at any other animal, example is the panda. Who knows the panda? Yeah? A few years ago, there were 2 left. Do you know that? 2. Now they're around 1,000-ish. But there are a lot of animals that actually disappeared in the world. A lot. One of them is the tiger. One of the subspecies of the tiger has actually gone extinct. So if you look at the work that every single person does here, and I'm not talking about animals and wildlife, what is our pillar of making a better life for the future? Some people say, go vegan. I can't. Yeah? Okay? Some people would say, I'd use reusable containers and bottles or whatever. But that small thing will make an impact, guys. And it will make an impact not only on animals, humans, you name it. Better wellness, the air you actually breathe. So there's a lot of things. So from a means of survival to become a pillar of a nation, this is what a falcon is today, guys. If you look at that cycle, do you agree with that? Does it actually gel with you guys? It does, correct? How can we take it back to us and to our organization and back to the country? How do we evolve it? What's that era that we can change and make it a better place for us? Can we create zoos? Can we create, conservations at home? Plant more ghaf? You saw the numbers on the ghaf, how many CO2 they actually can contain. If we can plant, do you know that the rule in the UAE, if you cut 1 ghaf, you have to plant 2? Do you know that or no? So this is Sheikh Zayed's rule. So it's, Allah yarhamah, 20, 25 years ago. If you're going to build your house, for example, and there's 2 trees there which are ghaf, if you cut them off because you're going to build, you have to plant 4 new ones. Because the old one, as soon as you cut it, it dies. You can't replant it. Subhanallah, it actually dies. So you can't. But I think there are solutions now that they can preserve them because they take them in a plastic bag under and stuff. But the rule of that is first of all, it's a national symbol. Number 2 is they knew that the ghaf is a plant that doesn't need a lot of water. It used to give shade to the nomadic people, so they had that bond. And number 3, it actually cleans the weather. It actually does. And if you sit under a ghaf tree, you feel the breeze different. You actually feel that breeze. So if you go to the desert for a picnic, look for a ghaf tree and sit down on a ghaf tree. You'll feel that breeze. It's like a filter. It brings in the clean air. It could be a falcon, could be a ghaf tree, or could be anything else, guys. How do we make our country better? And how do we make our world better? How do we transform? How do we maintain? How do we fix things that are hard to be fixed today? But together, it happens, and we can do it. Do you think we can do it? Thank you very much. I'm keeping it short today because I know you have a long agenda today. Questions? Any questions? None? You're so bored? Go ahead.
Okay, I'll just say very briefly, thank you so much. You are, the way you spoke, such an inspiration. I just, again, I could listen to you.
The mic is coming. The mic is coming. I can hear you, others won't. Just give me a second.
No, I was just saying that the way you spoke to us is very inspirational. I could listen to you all morning. So my only question to you is that in all humbleness, tell us what you do in your daily life. You're not a vegan, that's fine. But, you know, because it's inspirational. So small changes, maybe just a little more.
Okay, so I sleep at 10 p.m., huh? That's for sure. I wake up at 4. Every single day. 365 days, no day off. Okay? Even if I'm traveling, I sleep at 10. And I wake up at 4. So what do I do? Wake up 4, wait for prayer, and I pray, and then I go to my birds. So before office, I already passed by my birds. Trained them, fed them, took care of them, then I start my engine, and I go to Abu Dhabi or Dubai. That's my daily routine. In summer, I don't have falcons, but I breed those falcons. Then it's work, and then back to my birds. So family, birds, and so what do? I do a lot of consultancy on wildlife. So a lot of friends, setups, ask me for help, and I actually give them a lot of numbers. So my numbers are shared. I don't keep them for myself. At the end of the day, how can I fix the world, and how can we do it together? I switch off myself when I'm with my falcons. It's like you might go fishing. No phone, no electricity, nothing. I don't wear a digital band on my hand. I don't believe in it because they monitor me, whoever it is. The Matrix, whatever you want to call it. Yeah? So, I believe my life, I detached myself from everything. I'm okay if my phone is like left on the desk for 2-3 hours and I'm in the desert enjoying myself. So find your passion, because that passion restarts you every single day. That gives you the energy. Yeah? My job is the worst job, guys. Who doesn't complain? Is there a customer that doesn't complain here? A lot of guys here call me, Sahel, we have this problem. Sahel, we have that problem. Shergal, you know that. Yeah? And it's crazy. It could be a cable, it could be an account transfer, whatever it is. Yeah. So my job is not a thankful job. So how can I cheer myself inside? And I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Thank you for the amazing speech that you have delivered today, and we do really appreciate your efforts and have been taken to just keep these falcons with the good environment. I just have one small question, what is one challenge you have faced during your life to save these falcons? Like there's a specific challenge you remember?
So one of the challenges that I face is there's a lot of smuggling that happens in the world, be it falcons, be it gold, be it whatever it is. So it's because of people who do not understand or illiterate, or because of that country's economical situation, you have a lot of smuggling around, which does not preserve the land, does not preserve animals, doesn't preserve a lot of things. And I always say that is a big challenge. And if you focus on, if you look at, let's say, anything, ivory is one of them. You know, they conserved a lot of those animals because the death rate in the ivory world was so huge that they had to, the governments, all the governments in the world tried to put a stop on it. And it is tough. There's a lot of those happening. So that is one of the challenges. Shall I answer your question?
Thank you, Suhail. Amazing speech. Any uncommon fact about falcons that you would like to share with us? Anything that typically most people don't know about it?
They are the most friendly birds. I'm telling you, you know, I think a lot of you held them today. They didn't move. They're very calm. These birds overheat. That's why you keep them. You see them jumping. So because they're overheating, that's a challenge for the UAE itself because they actually live in. That one lives in the northern hemisphere, so Alaska, the white one. So because of the camouflage, she lives in ice, literally, all year. And the blacker ones come from the Black Mountains, so they are actually camouflaged. They are so friendly, and as soon as you bond with them, you feel the bond. You actually feel the bond. And each bird has a different style and attitude.
And personality.
And personality.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mike.
I was wondering, since you mentioned food, what do they eat?
They are non-vegan like me, so they eat meat. They eat meat. So it depends, chicken, quail, whatever it is. Yeah. Pigeon. Where is the question? The mic is moving. The mic is moving with no question.
I think we have no questions then, right?
There's a question up there.
Thank you so much. It was very inspiring. Just curious to know, what does it take to create a bond with the falcon? So what is the, from all the different ways that you deal with them, what is the one thing that you saw that creates the stronger bond?
So they're birds of prey. They have to feed, so you actually break them there with food. So you bring their weight a bit down and then slowly bring them back up. But it takes time. It takes at least 60 days to build that bond. And they are, for example, this bird is 3 months old. She is 2 years old. Yeah, they're fully grown in 8 weeks. 22 years. Our years. Their years, I don't know how that is counted.
Suhail, I just wanted to say thank you for shedding light on how our heritage and elements of our heritage are very conscious of the environment, because every time I sit with some of the most senior people, grandparents and great-grandparents, they were really, really connected to the land. The way they talk about it is right now, even though I work in ESG, I'll be clueless of how they were just so connected. And I think so much of how we're perceived is based on like we're consumer culture, etc., which may be true, but I think it's also important that we bring back some of the elements of how we really were conscious of the environment and our surroundings and living in harmony with it. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Shukran. Thank you. I give you half an hour of your day, or still one question? Go ahead. Done? Khalas? Thank you very much.